Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today I am going to get into a network engineering video on VLANs. Now the big thing to note with this is even if you're a home user, understand this can actually help you out quite a bit, especially on guest networks and stuff like that. And what VLANs are used more than not for is if you are on a network, more than not, there is a quote-unquote honor system. And what happens is basically you can potentially, not always, but potentially infect other people, same with back and forth. And also, if you got a mole or something in a company, they can potentially, if they can get into certain systems remotely, then they can get some blueprints or some whatever it may be that can really hurt the company at the end of the day. So keep this one in mind when they're doing something on a public Wi-Fi, like an airport Wi-Fi or what it may be. Is a great way to protect yourself from the localized stuff is through through VPNs for the communication back and forth. But as far as the seeing if you got open ports and whatever it may be, you need to make sure that you have a secure device into itself, so you don't have any unnecessarily open ports, and you don't have any major problems, and you got firewalls and all that other stuff to back you up in case something happens. So with that one in mind, outside of that, a VLAN is highly useful, and let's take this to the enterprise world. A VLAN is highly useful to make sure that one department doesn't affect all the other departments, or one section of the company doesn't affect all the other sections. So let's say, for example, this is a company. You got a sales department, a market department, a support, and also the manufacturing. In the middle, you have your network, and then above that is the internet. So most of these things are going to need to talk to the internet. So your sales and market departments obviously going to need to talk to the internet because they need to talk to the outside world and interact with the outside world as a day-to-day part of their job. The support may or may not, depending on the company, but many times it might be best if the company allows it to allow them to have some access to the internet. The reason for that way they can quickly look something up and help the individual with external resources if all possible. Not so much as software or whatever, but maybe someone on Stack Overflow or some other form found the answer, and they can go down it and try to help a person even more so out. But the manufacturing rarely, if ever, needs to talk to the outside world, especially when you're dealing with stuff that is very secure. So with that one in mind, you're not going to have two network interfaces, and even if you did, the fact of the matter is you got to link them up somehow, because the support kind of needs to send stuff over to the manufacturing, especially the engineering teams and all the other, so the engineering teams knows how to change the blueprints or whatever it may be to make a better product at the end of the day. So with that one in mind, since the marketing department and the sales department is going to be always pretty much talking on the internet in some form of fashion, well, the best thing to do if you are a network engineer and you have this ability is to make it where they cannot communicate with any of the other departments. Specifically, I'll even go down to where the marketing department and the sales department cannot talk to each other unless if you specifically allow it. So let's say, for example, if there was a printer in the I don't know, let's just call it the sales department, and you are in the market department and want to print something. Maybe your market department printer's down or where it may be, but you need to have something printed out. Well, instead of taking your system, bring it all the way over to the other department, given that it's even allowed in the first place, or taking a USB drive or email it to someone on the other department, well, as a network engineer, you can allow people to say, this device, this particular device right here, and only this particular device, the sales department can communicate with it. Outside of that, any other device they cannot communicate with. This is something that you got to keep in mind is you want to even protect it even down where that's not even possible for marketing and sales to print something on manufacturing, because unless if you got major firewalls, next generation firewalls and all the other stuff that goes with it, even then I would be questioning if you're putting yourself at too much of a risk. So because keep in mind, if the marketing department goes down, well, okay, so they're a week out. So as long as they're back up within a week, you're good to go. And even then, it's not too bad, because they're talking about future stuff. The sales department, yeah, that kind of sucks. So maybe a few days out at most. But the fact of the matter is those people are not current paying customers. They're potential, and they can still do their job over the phone and all these other methods. So they don't exactly need a computer 100% at the time. Whereas, let's say, for example, the manufacturing, if you cannot manufacture the parts that were ordered, well, the money has to go back to the clientele, which costs the company even more money down the road. So because of that, you don't want the marketing, sales department, or much anything else being able to talk to anything in the manufacturing line unless it's absolutely critical. So with that in mind, you can lock it down to that point where one department can use another department's printer or something like that, but that's it, and that's only it. Same thing, and you'll see it all the time. Like, say for example, the support team, they might have a some upper level management type, and they will basically have the ability to talk to the directly look at not only talk to, but look at the machines in the manufacturing line and see what they're doing and what it may be. And that way you can have the manager that says, oh yeah, we're back ordered, we're having X amount of machines running, and it looks like they're going to be done within X amount of time. So if you got a couple of CNC machines or whatever it may be, and given that they have timers on them, the manager at support, when they're getting complaints about orders not coming in on time or whatever it may be, they can say, oh yeah, we're working on it right now, and that stuff should be done in X amount of time. We're going to get it out as soon as possible. That way they are able to answer it right then and there, save a cell and all the other stuff. Whereas with manufacturing, if that goes down, then you have to give back all that money and so on. So basically, it's a basic and easy way to protect yourself. Now, the big thing to note is there is one big vulnerability, and what that is the networking area itself. So there's a few things out there called, I forgot what it's called, it's double packing or something like that, but you're going to have to know the absolute details of the network well beyond what the average person would know. And then the other one is you need to have physical access to the network, and I think there's another way to bypass the VLAN. But basically, at the end of the day, is you have a mole if you got that problem, or you have no physical security around the networking equipment, so you got a problem there. So basically, at the end of the day, that's pretty much what the problem is. So with that one in mind, how does that help you in a home environment? Well, the biggest thing to note with a home environment is you might have seen a guest network on your Wi-Fi. Well, what a guest network is at the end of the day is a VLAN. It's just not called that. Now, depending on the manufacturer, is depending on how secure that VLAN would be. Keep in mind the guest will have to talk to the internet and all the other stuff, but depending on how things are, it's depending on how secure the guest network is from the main network. If the manufacturer made it properly, then the guest network shouldn't be able to talk at all to the main network, and that way you don't have to worry about infection from someone on the guest network. But if they didn't, then you might have to worry about it in some aspect, whether if they know what they're doing or if it's some virus or accident or whatever it may be. So that's a big thing to note, is potentially you already have VLAN abilities. Now there is high-end Wi-Fi routers that do have, I think Nighthawk is one and a few others, they have VLAN abilities on them, but even there, they're a little bit on the limiting side. The ones you're really going to start to see some real good VLANs with is more than less the enterprise level. More than not, if you're in a home environment, you're using not that many devices to start with, and most people, it'll be just too confusing for them. And it can actually be to the point where they think the Wi-Fi router is broken, when the fact is they put a printer on a different VLAN, and they cannot communicate with the printer because of that. So yeah, that's something that you gotta keep in mind. Is that's why you're probably not going to see a major separation between the enterprise and the consumer level VLANs. It's because it's going to get too complicated too quickly. But maybe sometime in the future that might reverse. But anyways, as far as that goes, that's something to note in case you're looking for security. If you got any questions or anything else, then feel free to let me know. And as far as network engineering videos, let me know if you got any problems that come up or whatever it may be, because there's not too many videos I could do on these type of topics, because there's just simply, you either know it or don't know it, and if you're good at it, then there's only a handful of things that you physically need to do, other than terminology and all the other stuff that doesn't matter at the end of the day. There's only a handful of these type of things that you need to know. But anyways, as far as that goes, I'll see you next video. Hope you have a great day.